Hello everybody, welcome back to Red Tool House. In this video we want to do some updates. Everybody's been asking us what's been going on with the pigs and the chickens and different things. It's a very busy time of year. It finally has warmed up. Here we are, actually this is the last day of April when we're shooting this intro. It's finally warmed up. I can be out in short sleeves and things are really growing. It's really exciting to see. Still don't have our garden in yet, but it's good to see things growing. So come check out what's going on here on the homestead. Well, this area of our landscaping, this is the front of the house, and this is what's usually most protected from the deer. But if you go back when we did our cold frame video, this is where we put our cold frame, and it's doing pretty well. In fact, it's heating up a little too well. So Kelly's taken some of the trays out and just put them out here. But we've got broccoli coming in, we've got cabbage, tomato plants. We didn't do those in the cold frame. Got those from a friend of ours who does a really good job. Looks like cucumbers are starting to come in. And then my Russian comfrey, which I plant here, which some people may say, oh my goodness, you planted comfrey in your landscape and it's going to take over everything. Well, I'm fine with that. I'll actually dig it up and use it to propagate. So this is Russian comfrey, so it doesn't produce viable seeds. So I don't have to worry about it spreading out. It just gets bigger and bigger. But we'll cut it back. In fact, I'll probably feed this to the chickens. They love comfrey. And then we'll end up digging the root balls out, busting them up, and starting them in other places to get some more comfrey going. And in this area to the side of the house, we've got a little bit of landscaping slash edible landscaping here. You can see some more comfrey. Put some thornless blackberry in, and the game plan with this again was to get it going. If I plant it out to where the deer can get to it, they will just eat it down to the nub. So the plan was to put them in here. There's several in here, and even though I know they're going to bush out and really take over the area, the plan is to try to propagate. I've never propagated this blackberry, but I'll try to propagate it and be able to get starts from it. So this is kind of the master source. Hopefully this will always be protected from the deer, and we can always be able to get shoots from this and get starts. We've got Kelly's got some chives in here, and mint. Of course, mint takes over everything, so it's becoming a ground cover. Well, the blueberries have come in nicely. They've actually got quite a bit of blooms. I was a little concerned with all the frost that we've had, and we had actually pretty good frost last night that they would be killed back. But so far, everything looks good. You may wonder, where are the blueberries and all that? Well, I've purposely left the weeds and the grass tall around it to hopefully help protect from the frost. It doesn't really get a frost pocket around here since we're high on the hillside and this is south facing. So this, with the intense sun we've had during the day, these areas heat up pretty good, and we didn't have any frost here. It was down in the valley around the barn that we actually see frost building up. But excited to see if we get any harvest this time from this year from our blueberries. This will start year number 3 for them, so I'm hoping they'll take off. Well, about 2 weeks ago, we shut down this pasture. This is the what I consider pasture A of the chicken pasture, and we did a video on that. I'll link to it here. But we shut it down to get the chickens off here to let this ground heal. They overwintered here, and of course they're just so hard on ground. There's just no vegetation that's left when chickens go unchecked. But it's really starting to come back. It's only been 2 weeks, and there's already some growth coming in, a little bit of grasses, a little bit of clover, various weeds, of course, as well. But there's some areas here that probably remain pretty rough. This is where we had the feeder. They've exposed this stone. This is typical West Virginia. Here's a big sandstone that's just uncovered in this area. But we're gonna do a little bit of testing here. I'm not necessarily going to go back and reseed all this in grass, but I am going to go along the fence line and plant some various annuals. Be planting some pole beans. I think we'll do some sunflowers, a couple things like that. Things that can grow up, and even when the chickens come back over here, they won't be able to completely decimate that vegetation because it'll grow up and get above them there. So we're looking to do that as an experiment to see how well that would work. Well, I'm super excited about this. This is 10 sections of 18-inch poly pipe, 10 feet long. And we're going to use these for culverts, just for the small streams as we make our road back to the retreat. We want to make a a really nice road, something that's not just accessible by the side-by-side, but something I could possibly even take my truck back there with. So this is going to serve as culverts to allow these these side streams to pass under. But this was really cool. This was this kind of goes back to our last episode about bartering. This and some dozer time I'm trading with a guy in exchange for some marketing services. So it's a really cool opportunity here. He delivered the pipe a couple weeks ago. It's been sitting here, so once we get the dozer in, we'll be able to get that in place. But this is like 3/4 inch thick poly pipe. Man, this will last forever as a culvert. So really excited about that. Well, this conglomeration of lumber piled up here that doesn't look like much is actually the components for 3 Suscovich style chicken tractors. I got all the pieces put together. Actually just finished up putting the walls together last evening, and now we just need to assemble. So we'll have 3 chicken tractors. Actually, one's going to my brother's place. He's going to, he and his son are going to do some chickens on their farm. So we'll have 2 for here, plus the one we already have. So we'll be able to put our broilers, get them out of the brooder, because they're due to come out of the brooder this week, get them on pasture, and be able to get them in the tractors. If you're not familiar with this chicken tractor plan, I'll link to a video that we did reviewing the Suscovich style chicken tractor. And John raises broilers. He's up in Connecticut. Really neat design. I really like it. It's the size that we need for our smaller pastures that we have versus Joel Salatin's setup. But it's neat. He has a book, tells you step by step how to build it, so be sure to check that out as well. Well, Meredith's piglets are doing really well. Growing, they're still nursing. We are going on 4 weeks, a little over 4 weeks old. So doing well. We do have a runt. She's growing all right. She's definitely not the size that the rest of them are. I don't know if you can see her in the shot, but she's actually the one looking right at me in the camera here. She's at Merida's nose. She's the runt. But she's full of energy just like the rest of them are. But just smaller. You can kind of see there her conformation. She's just a smaller pig, but doing well. Meredith's keeping her weight on. I've been keeping an eye on her rationing there, so they're not pulling her down too much. I like to try to go to 8 weeks if I can on nursing. I think it just really gives the pigs a head start, as long as it's not too hard on the sow. And so I keep an eye on her to see if she's A, losing too much weight, B, if she's super cranky around them. And you see, just overall irritable to everybody, including me. But they're having a blast. And she's kind of let her guard down a little bit too. You can see Grandma here, Abigail to the right, is now allowed to come in and sleep in the barn. This is Abigail's favorite spot, so she's glad to be back in the barn. And there it seems like everybody's getting along pretty well. Well, the Cornish cross are doing really well. We're coming up on Wednesday will be the 3rd week that the chickens will be in the brooder, the Cornish cross at least. The Australorps, the black Australorps, are actually about 4 days older than the Cornish cross, but you can see now how the Cornish cross have exceeded the Australorps in size, and they're just eating and pooping machines. But I've really been surprised. These have been very good birds. I've only had one issue. Obviously, had some of our loss due to my brooder temperatures, and we have these crazy temps. But I only have one Cornish cross in here somewhere. It has an inverted neck. It's like its head's kind of twisted around. It's still eating, still drinking a little bit. It's probably something I'm going to have to call. I've researched it. I thought maybe it was rye neck, which is a vitamin E deficiency or anything like that, and not had any luck. I've given it vitamin E, not had any luck turning that around, so probably going to have to call that chicken. I really have liked how active these Cornish cross are. In fact, I came down here the other morning and there was a Cornish cross that had actually flown up and was sitting right here on this rail, which was shocking because normally Cornish cross aren't very agile when it comes to flight. But yeah, he was just kicking it up here on the rail. You can see they kind of jump around a little bit. They're out of food. I ration them right now because I don't want them putting on too much weight. Well, the barn oiler that I put together, again, I'll reference the video here. But the barn oiler is working pretty well. This post, I think we're about, let's go back, I think maybe 3 weeks. And I've had to fill that quart up again. It was half full when I put it in, and I put another half in. And it's, on this side, it's made it down almost to the base. And it's coming around, it's doing pretty good. What's interesting, obviously this gets the most sun, this side. So it appears that the sun, of course, is drawing the oil out. Obviously it's warming up. It's you know, more fluid at that point, so it seems to be soaking in well. But really happy with how that's coming together. And the second one, those went so well, I went ahead and did the other 3. So this one's actually just, it's not even been 2 days. Actually, yeah, I did this yesterday. So this one is, must have been really, really dry, because it is soaking the oil down, and it's really drawing it in well. These last 2 I did yesterday as well, and they're not really showing any sign on this side. There's just a little bit of a flare out here. There's one spot here coming down the checking, so it'll take a while to draw, but really happy with that. The way that's working. It's something I can definitely control. It's not, you know, dumping oil on the ground. I can obviously stop it when it gets to that point where there's saturation. And seen the carpenter bees check it out, and they kept on trucking, but obviously there's plenty of other wood in the barn right now that they can chew on, so eventually we'll spread this around. Well, we're about a week out on Hoss and Mercy farrowing. This is Hoss here in the on the left. You can see she's starting to bag up, and she's my 3-year-old gilt. Again, we've not had a litter from her yet, so we're curious to see how she goes. And of course beside her is Mercy. This will be her 3rd litter, and she's done really well in the past. She's actually starting to show some swelling there in the back, and she's bagged up really well too. So they're both to be, they're on tap around the 7th of May, but both Mercy and her mom have a tendency of going early. They've gone as early as 3 days. So we may, this weekend, we may have additional piglets farrowing. Looks like the weather's going to be good, knock on wood, so it'll be nice not to have to worry about freezing temperatures like we did last time. I always feel like my videos are incomplete if I don't have a logical conclusion, but that's pretty much the updates we have going on right now. So we have a lot of stuff going on, but just no completion of projects yet. Got a ton of stuff in the works that we'll be doing videos here on down the road, but we're really excited that things are greening up right now. Soon we'll go from shades of brown in all of the videos back to shades of green. So we'll get sick of green here after a couple months. But even our red buds are in bloom. The multiflora rose is thriving and vibrant. The poison ivy is budded out beautifully. So it's a great time of year. Well, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Be sure to check us out at redtoolhouse.com. Sign up for our e-newsletter, and check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Red Tool House Farm. Take care, everybody.